It wasn't just a paycheck to him. He cared about the people who he was taking care of.
When the call comes in and it's one of your own, the first response tonight to the death of a Clay County EMT.
WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Shock and sadness swirl around Chickasaw County first responders today. A MedStat EMT loses his life responding to a call to help save someone else.
54-year-old Michael Collins died in the crash on Highway 32 in Chickasaw County. His co-worker was seriously injured. WCBI's Jory Talley joins us live in the studio with more on this tragic story. Jory.
Audrey and Joey, helping others. That's how many remember the fallen first responder, and that's exactly what he was doing when the crash occurred. Now, those that worked with him day in and day out are trying to process and grieve while continuing to help others.
It's a challenging job. That's why first responders form strong bonds. Together on Tuesday evening, they worked to save two co-workers in a crash that killed EMT Michael Collins. None of them could have prepared for what they saw and experienced.
It don't come out of that textbook, by no means. You got to have it in your heart.
Chickasaw County responders train together and work together. Emergency Management Agency Director Linda Griffin saw Collins at an emergency call less than 2 hours before he would die serving his community.
He loved working in Chickasaw County. That was his first priority, to stay here. And, you know, I know something happens to somebody, that's all you can say is good things about him. But, you know, even if I was mad at him, I couldn't think of nothing bad to say about him.
Houston firefighter and Chickasaw County Fire Coordinator Jonathan Blankenship says it's rare and extremely painful when first responders work to save another first responder.
It's hard to comprehend at first. When the tones drop and you get the message that one of our own's in trouble, we go and you try to put aside your anxieties and take care of business, and then it all hits you after the fact.
Blankenship, like many who knew Collins, is still trying to process what happened and how and why. However, the work to save others continues.
We would love to be able to take off and just grieve, but we can't, because somebody's always going to need help. Something's going on, and whoever's turn falls on the day, you just get up and go, you know, and tomorrow will be a new day. Get to take off and do whatever we need to deal with it.
The people who knew Collins say he was a true team player, involved in the community, and easygoing.
He was a good guy. You know, he, like I say, he was always likable, and he, you know, I don't think he ever met a stranger. You know, he'd greet you as, you know, like the first time he seen you, like he'd known you for years.
Michael Collins' wife is also an EMT at Baptist Golden Triangle in Columbus. The other ambulance crew member injured in the crash, Ray Reed from Caledonia, is in fair condition at North Mississippi Medical Center. Collins and his partner were based in Houston, working for MedStat. The Mississippi Highway Patrol is investigating the wreck. Andrea?
All right, thanks a lot, Jory. Final arrangements have been announced for Michael Collins. The visitation will be from 9 till 11 Friday morning at Calvert Funeral Home in West Point. The funeral will be immediately following in the chapel there at Calvert. Interment will be in West Point's Greenwood Cemetery.
Bond is set for the man accused of killing a woman in Winston County. A judge sent Kevin Ledexter Carter's bond at $300,000 this morning. Winston County Sheriff Jason Pugh says investigators believe Carter shot and killed 39-year-old Angela Collier February 12th. Deputies say Carter also hit another woman inside the home near Noxapater before going on a nearly week-long manhunt. Carter turned himself in to a Lee County deputy. Carter's next court appearance is scheduled for March 22nd. An Artesia Library burglar is apparently planning a cleaning spree and takes a drink for the road. Lowndes County detectives say someone broke in the small town's library last night. Books were left behind, but the thief took off with cleaning supplies and a Dr. Pepper. No one was or has been arrested yet. If you have any information, call the Sheriff's Department or Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers.
kind of hard to follow that one. There's another step forward today in the process of Lowndes County and Columbus separating control of area parks. A bill passed the House today in Jackson, allowing Lowndes County to give money to Columbus, Caledonia, Artesia, and Crawford to oversee its own facilities and programs. That bill now goes to the Senate. If it becomes law, the county will decide how much money to give each municipality when the Columbus Lowndes Recreation Authority is disbanded. Councilmen and supervisors are still discussing the specifics of ending the agreement. A pastor and longtime community activist says he wants to be a Tupelo City Councilman. This morning, Reverend James Hull said he's running for the Ward 3 Tupelo City Council seat. The Democrat believes there needs to be better representation for residents of Ward 3 on a wide range of issues like race relations, public transportation, and health and wellness initiatives. Incumbent Travis Beard declined to comment about the announcement. Primaries are May 2nd. The general election is June 6th. WCBI reporter Quentin Smith is Hull's son. Coming up a little later in sports, Ole Miss releases the newest details regarding the NCAA's investigation into the school's football program.
Robbie has the latest in sports.
Welcome back, everyone. The principal of the largest high school in Mississippi says he's in favor of a proposal in the legislature that would keep 17-year-olds in school. Right now, a 17-year-old can legally drop out of school. Tupelo High School Principal Jason Harris says increasing the age a student can drop out would be beneficial, especially for disadvantaged students.
Currently, the State Department provides attendance officers that come and help us try to keep kids in school and do things to help them receive their diploma. But obviously, when they reach that compulsory school age, they're kind of limited, and we're kind of limited in things that we can do to help them, get back in school.
Harris says he believes a change in the age to drop out could keep students from making hasty and poor decisions.
Educators and community leaders from across North Mississippi spent part of the day looking at ways to lower the dropout rate among public school students.
As WCBI's Allie Martin tells us, there has been measured success in recent years, but there is still a lot of work to be done.
They represent superintendents, educators, and nonprofits from a 24-county area. The 10th annual Dropout Prevention Summit is sponsored by the Create Foundation of Northeast Mississippi.
It affects our economy. That's our main goal, is to push up our personal income, and the way to do that in this economy is through education.
The summit is one of many initiatives by Create's Commission on the Future of Northeast Mississippi. The numbers are promising. Overall, the dropout rate statewide has been reduced by 50% since 2005. Still, experts say there's a lot of work to do. For example, in Mississippi, 32% of third graders read proficiently by the end of third grade. The director of the Mississippi Campaign for Grade Level Reading says parental involvement and education is key.
Building high-quality language environments at home from the minute they bring their children home from the hospital. So positive interactions and making the most of everyday learning opportunities by speaking with their children and talking with them, narrating their day.
Participants at the summit hear success stories from other communities, and then they can adapt or modify the ideas.
Every community is different. They have strengths, they have weaknesses. If we went in and said you have to do it one way, we would overlook something very valuable or needed in those communities.
Another factor impacting the dropout rate is chronic absenteeism. Students who miss more than 18 days in a school year are more likely to drop out. In Tupelo, I'm Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Several ideas from previous dropout prevention summits have been implemented by school districts and city governments across the area.
It took a while today, but we are now mainly clear in Columbus and Tupelo with our Alpha Insurance Skycam network right there. Fog is possible later tonight, and warm temperatures likely tomorrow and Friday. Details are next.
Your first alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Record highs are possible on Friday. Here are the old records in Columbus: 79 degrees set back in 2000. And in the city of Tupelo, the old record on Friday is 78 degrees set back in 2011. Right now we're thinking some low 80s, a decent chance here as we get into the end of this work week. New records likely, as we just talked about. There could be a few evening showers, maybe even a few thunder showers around with the cold front that will sweep on through behind all of the warm air that is coming our way now. Don't forget Friday in Vernon, Alabama. If you're over here in Lamar County, we're actually going to be programming weather radios at Durham Pharmacy 3:30 to 5:30 as we jumpstart our weather radio programming tour again this Friday afternoon in Vernon at Durham Pharmacy. Let's go to Tupelo today. Our Alpha Insurance time lapse from downtown at Fair Park. You can see some of those clouds moving on through, but the sun going on down just a few minutes ago. We showed you going to break those clear conditions currently in place in Tupelo and Columbus, but we still have a lot of low-level moisture around here, and all of this low-level moisture, the relative humidity here, this will likely turn into some fog later this evening and tonight. So we do have a dense fog advisory for the southern half of our area in Mississippi. We could see some fog up north and out east where you don't have an advisory at this point. Just be aware that there could be some locally dense fog as we go throughout the course of the overnight hours. And our future visibility forecast here shows how some of that fog could fill in by tomorrow morning's commute. So that could be an issue early tomorrow morning. Lows tonight down into the 50s. The wind is light. Now during our Thursday, we're going to get rid of the low clouds and the fog. Whatever forms tonight should be gone by late morning and early afternoon. And by the afternoon, wow, we're back into the upper 70s with a lot of sunshine around here. So much like today, we'll see a gloomy start and then more in the way of bright skies, let's just say brighter skies, bright sunshine in the afternoon with highs in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees, winds from the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Even warmer on Friday, as we just talked about. Here comes that incoming cold front, and right along it, we may see a few showers and storms. The best chance for strong to severe storms with this system looks to be from Tennessee northward into the Great Lakes. We'll, of course, be watching it, but at this point, it looks like a non-issue for our coverage area. But it will be much cooler for the weekend. We fall back down to around 60. We could get a freeze Saturday night, and then those 70s are back next week with some additional rain chances.
All right, thanks, Keith. Well, 8th grade science students at Tupelo Middle School learn about the art of accurate weather forecasting from an expert. Our own WCBI Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson spoke to science classes throughout the day at TMS. Keith talked to the students about what goes into forecasting the weather every day. He also took questions, many of the questions from students centered on the unusually warm winter the area is experiencing. We've talked about that a lot here recently.
All right, coming up, Ole Miss releases the newest details regarding the NCAA's investigation into the school's football program. That's coming up in sports.
WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
The NCAA has completed its investigation into the Ole Miss football program, and the new notice of allegations has been received and officially addressed by the University of Mississippi in a video released by the school today. You can see that in the entire transcript of the Ole Miss response on our website now at WCBI.com. Let's run through the major talking points on the Ole Miss's NCAA investigation. The school is charged with a lack of institutional control. That's a level 1 violation. That's a severe breach of conduct. Hugh Freeze is charged with violating the head coach's responsibility legislation, which is also a severe violation. In the process, Ole Miss has self-inflicted a 1-year bowl ban, so they will not be able to compete in the postseason in 2017. And also, they will forfeit $7.8 million in the annual postseason revenue, which is distributed evenly amongst the SEC schools. Other information on these allegations and charges: 7 of the 9 new violations are labeled level 1 violations. 8 are new violations. 1 has been expanded, which is now a level 1 violation. As I mentioned earlier, level 1 is labeled by the NCAA as a severe breach of conduct. Now, Ole Miss has announced that they will contest 5 and possibly 6 of those new violations. Now, of those 6, 5 of them are level 1 violations. Here's head coach Hugh Freeze and athletic director Ross Bjork explaining and addressing the situation.
Unfortunately, these penalties are necessary for our program to be responsible and to move forward. While it is extremely difficult to ask current players to suffer penalties based on the actions of others, I agree with the decision to self-impose a one-year bowl ban by our university.
The additional allegations announced today are serious, but we will vigorously defend the university against those allegations that we believe are not appropriately supported, including that we lacked institutional control and that our head coach did not promote an atmosphere of compliance or monitor staff in our football program.
We'll talk more about this coming up at 10 on WCBI Sports. There was good news for Ole Miss coming from last night's big win over Mississippi State. The Rebels continue having hope for the NCAAs, but Andy Kennedy wishes the focus would be elsewhere.
It's amazing to me how it just becomes, it overrides everything. This is Mississippi State Ole Miss. Now that used to be something, but not, let's talk about, okay, what's next? This game's something. This is the in-state game. You know, it's, I would rather just focus on this, and then I would rather just focus on Missouri on Saturday. And our philosophy's always been the same. I have been in this position in my 11th season. I've been in this position more times than I can count. And at the end of the day, man, you're going to look up and you're going to be where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's tough for them right now, but they're young kids and they'll battle back. I mean, they love playing basketball, and I thought we had good preparation. I thought that, we got a little too cute with the ball in the first half. 13 turnovers really hurt us in the first half. It felt like our defense, we should have had a little better lead, and credit them.
And lastly in hoops, South Lamar won a wild finish in their game against Pickens County last night, the Class 1A Northwest Regional Final. Down 1 with 10 seconds left. The Stallions had a good shot right there, but that right there, Malachi Oglin follows it up at the buzzer to win, and pandemonium ensues from the Stallion faithful. No word as to whether or not Joey Barnes had a camera on him, and we could have gotten his reaction of that. But again, this is one more time. South Lamar is going to the 1A Final Four for the first time since 1992. They will play Monday at 10:30 a.m. in Birmingham. And again, as Joey mentioned to me, first time since '92.
Yeah.
Played on that team. Not a bad player.
Daryl Wilson.
Daryl Wilson.
Ah.
Pretty
That's
darn
right.
good basketball player at Mississippi State. So congratulations to South Lamar. Also beat Pickens County in the process, a little cross-county rivalry there.
Yeah.
So good to see that.
Yeah.
Pretty excited. Great going.
The 92, first and only state championship.
That's
Our
right.
producer is saying, enough with the
All right.
trivia. Let's go to break.
We'll be right back.
Spring-like weather Thursday and Friday. Now, there will be some fog around tonight, so be aware, but we're warm tomorrow afternoon.
I love the look of that 7-day.
Yeah, me too. Sun and warm. Thanks for joining us.